the NCAA sharing profits with athletes. And I was rather surprised yesterday that more than one red ass showed up in the comments section to say that student athletes don't deserve profits. Because I think this is a very interesting conversation. Note that profit sharing is different than name, image, and likeness. Profit sharing is different than... Who's texting you, man?
OSU James.
What does he want?
He's not texting me. He's tagging me in reels on Instagram. To which my only question is, James, this is retreaded material, bro. This is the same video you posted on Twitter. You're tagging me on Instagram today? Be better, dude.
You're the one who said you love him.
Be better, dude. See, you totally sidetracked and derailed Monty's takeover here. Like, dude, you can't retread yesterday's material. That doesn't work.
Should athletes in college sports be paid profit sharing? I think the answer is maybe. The NIL, I think these kids should make as much money off of their own name, image, and likeness as possible. Millions, tens of millions, knock yourself out. But when we start talking about taking a pot, and it's been widely reported by Yahoo, Pete Thamel at ESPN, many people are reporting it's a $20 million profit sharing cap. You can spend as much as $20 million on profit sharing. Here's the problem. One, let's get a couple of things squared away. This has nothing to do with universities like Arizona who lose money. If you lose money and you don't make money and there are no profits, you're not sharing. If you're in the G5, because largely, and I'm pretty certain, I haven't seen the numbers obviously for this past year, but 9 out of 10 G5s do not profit. They do not make money. They lose money on athletics. They pay for athletics through student fees, tuition, tickets, concessions from Oak State James. That's how they make it possible for most of these G5 universities don't make money. That is something that's really important. We're not talking about stick and ball sports. We're not talking about lacrosse, badminton, swimming, the chess club. We're mainly talking about football and basketball because those are the only two sports, and really it's football because a lot of basketball programs, even at the P5 level, are not making money. So again, we're really just talking about football because most P4 now programs are profitable to some level. Should you, who made the most money last year? I think Ohio State.
Yeah, I believe it was Ohio State.
Are you telling me that Ohio State should give away 20% of their profits to their players? I think they should. I think if you're making $250 million on athletes, that's a thing.
Yeah, well, I think the hard part is without the athlete, you're not getting to the college football playoff. You're not getting to, the postseason in college football. And I think that's the difficult part to get away from if you're the administrator or the university. Like, hey, obviously, your regular season stuff, you were going to play either way, right? So I'm not so sure that when it comes to profit sharing, that athletes should be entitled to that portion of the season. But I think it's an interesting conversation because if you start to consider, hey, well, if Ohio State wasn't able to recruit and wasn't able to get the kind of athlete they can get, they wouldn't be the school that they are. So it kind of goes both ways. I feel like you can sit on both sides of the fence and make an argument for either side. But my opinion is that, yeah, without the student athlete, you're not getting to the national championship. You're not getting to the college football playoff. You're not certainly going to the bigger bowl games or New Year's Six bowls or what have you. So to me, I think profit sharing should be a conversation in postseason, and it should be a conversation around winning. If you win, you should get more. But if if you lose and you're terrible, I just don't I just don't
If
know
you're
how.
if you're Garbo,
Yeah, if you're Garbo, like I don't know how we can sit here and be like, yeah, we should definitely be profit sharing. Like that doesn't work. And I think what's difficult is once again, even inside of this conversation, you can already start to see like, hey, well, what happens if we're not talking about an Ohio State level school? What if we're talking about, a lower level school?
but
Like,
what if you're talking about a school that makes $125 million? I mean, 20% of that, you start doing the math, you guys break that down. If you're making, hey Siri, what is 8% of
I
100
can't help you with that.
Hey Siri, my beauty
I
queen.
can't help you with that.
You're being
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Siri, you're being an asshole. Hey Siri,
Mm-hmm.
what is 8% of $125 million? Hey, hey Siri,
Fuck up, Donnie.
what is 8% of $125 million?
The answer is $10 million.
So if you're making if your budget's $125 million, that's a lot of money to give away.
uh-huh.
And if you're you don't care, right? If you are, what's a lower level P5? If you're Georgia Tech, if you're, Vandy, different situation. They're not going to be profitable in anything.
Yeah.
But if you're Oklahoma State,
Yeah.
if you're Texas Tech, if you're UCF,
Baylor.
if you're Baylor, think about that. What if your athletic budgets are $100 million and you're giving away $20 million of that money? Bro, that's a lot of bread. $20 million for a university that's got a $100 million budget is not sustainable.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is, like, I'm curious, can these universities help themselves through sales? Like, can you backfill this line item, if you will, this money you have to set aside through selling more? Like, how? Like, that's what I'm really curious about. Like, what are schools going to be allowed to do to backfill? Because that backfilling is going to have to happen. And again, this is why I say winning matters so much, because if you win, you don't have to have this conversation. But if you're it's no longer good enough to be the heritage brand that doesn't win right now. Like, you kind of have to at least get to major bowl games, or in an expanded college football situation that we're about to get. You have to get into the college football playoff, even if you just win, or even if you just play in one game. You don't even win one game. So that's why I say it's difficult, because let's say that schools did invest in like a sales department, and you went all in on that, and you pulled out a ton of money out of the local community, and you got some national opportunities. Dude, backfilling $20 million, I don't think people understand how difficult that is. Like, $20 million in sales for, again, Baylor or whatever brand you want to use, Texas Tech, let's say. I mean, that's a lot of effort. And by the way, I'd just like to point out, you're talking about $20 million in profit after you pay the sales folks, after you've covered your costs and done all the things you need to do. So that's what I'm saying. It's no small feat. So the only real question here for the school is, what is this process going to look like the first year this gets rolled out?
I look at like Mississippi State, who made $110 million in revenue, and you're looking for fiscal year 2022. Mississippi State reported $110,653 in revenue. You're going to take $20 million of that, and you're going to hand that to a student. That's a lot of money out of $110 million in revenue, and then you shave $20 million off of that. That's called cutting a sport. If you look at, if the top, Alabama made $214.3 million. they're not going to probably blanket 20 million. But you start looking at the lower tier, the lower half, Arkansas made $152.5 million. $20 million, that's a huge slice of their revenue. And it's not, I don't believe that it is sustainable. And if you start looking at the profits and the money that was made in the Big 12, Houston made $78 million. And in 2022, their total expenses were $73 million. So now if we add 20 million on top of that, you're now negative.
Yeah.
You're Cincinnati, you made $83 million. Their total expenses were $75 million. You add 20 million to that, now you're pushing $100 million in expenses and $83 million in profit.
Yeah, and
that's revenue.
the key. That's the key thing here is that it's revenue versus profit. We're
Yes.
not talking about, hey, well, they made 120 million in profits and now their profits getting cut to 90. No, that's not what we're saying. It's $120 million in revenue, and most of these schools are operating, within a $1 to $5 million profit line, on any given year. So throwing in a $20 million cost is not good.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it. I don't think you can do $20 million across the board. And how do you fix this? Well, I don't know how many more times I can say it. You got to create a God tier. You got to have the Super League. You have to bring in private money.
Yeah.
You have to make more commercial efforts and endeavors, and you have to create revenue streams through other sports. And it's all the stuff we've been talking about, because we can sit here and we can play this fantasy about, well, Monty, them kids are getting an education. It doesn't matter. This lawsuit settlement that is inevitably coming, will not save the NCAA. It will not. What will save the NCAA is you are going to have to indemnify them now against future action.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to have to find a way to roll all these NIL lawsuits into one settlement, and it's going to be billions of dollars, but you have to do it. You can't just keep exposing the NCAA and these universities to lawsuits. So for all the people who are like, well, Greg Sankey's going to end the NCAA. How's he going to do that? Do you think his member institutions in the SEC are like, yeah, let's end the NCAA and lose our antitrust exemption and protections? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. There's no way to spin this. These universities need protections. And the only way to get that is to create a larger, greater revenue generating operation. And to everybody who says, well, the Super League's bullshit, that's never going to happen. Tell me how it's not going to happen now. And we'll call it whatever it winds up being called. If it's the Super League, the God tier, hey, here's a bunch of people with more money than you, whatever you want to call it, they're going to pay players.
Yeah.
And if it's the Ohio States, the Bamas, the Georgias of the world, the Texases of the world, okay, great. But at some point, you got to do something to protect the lower end of the P4. And I know it's not popular, but I'll continue to tell you, the G5 needs to have their own championship. We keep talking about making sure that the G5's got access to the national championship. No, that's over with. Because somebody tell me how in Fresno, Tucky, they're going to afford $15 to $20 million. How are you in Logan, Utah? Do you know how expensive Aggie tiers are? How are you in Logan, Utah going to come up with $20 million to pay players? Because you're more worried about your ag department than you are your football department.
Absolutely.
How are you going to do that? How's South Dakota State going to do this? How are our friends in Laramie going to do this? The G5 needs to have its own thing. Because whether you're profitable or not, if you don't pay your players, you're not going to compete because you won't have the top talent.
Yep.
So we can sit here and we can fantasize. Oh, well, Monty, they're not profitable. They won't have to pay those bills. They also won't have very good football players. They won't have very good basketball players. So you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. That's really what this comes down to.
Yeah, and what that's going to do is that's going to put the lower end school in a position where they're going to choose not to. They're going to choose to, because again, you can't forget the overreaching dynamic here, which is that this is just athletics. That this is not talking about academia. This isn't talking about like what the school's main function is, which is to educate people. Right. We're just talking about one section of a greater budget at a university that's trying to be reasonably profitable and not losing like 20, 30 mil a year. And so that's why I say, again, for the Baylors of the world, or, whoever you want to point to, if they haven't been winning and they don't have that culture already in place, they're not going to be,
You're in real
thrilled.
trouble, man.
Yeah, like you're not going to be thrilled to be trying to figure out how to get this done and how to accommodate this. And that's why I say I think there's a conversation at the school level, at like the chancellor level of a school. Hey, how do we turn athletics and our athletic department into a sales operation that just happens to play sports? Because that's where we're going with this. And I know everyone's like, oh, well, hey, it's college and student athletes, and we can't make it too much like pro sports, but we're already there. We're literally already there. We're talking about super leagues and private money, and because it's necessary, not because we want to, but because it is necessary for the sport to continue to move forward. To which I say, none of the other non-revenue generating sports even matter in this conversation, because all that matters is making sure that you have enough money running through your football program so that you can pay for other sports or whatever it might be. Because the academia are getting billions through grants and all these other things. That's why you never hear about it. Notice you never hear about a school. Notice a school never says, well, we're struggling to pay professors. We're struggling to pay for books and pencils and all the things that, academia needs. No, they're not struggling for that because they have decades upon decades of funding just chilling there to pay for all that stuff.
I think you don't have to want a super league or like a super league, or as we call it on this here program, a God tier.
Yeah.
But it's here already. We're already living in this world, because who's pushing to pay players a pot of money per university of $15 to $20 million? Well, according to Pete Thamel, it's the SEC and the Big Ten. So why does Greg Sankey not want to talk about a God tier? Well, he's already got one.
He's already doing it. Like, it's already his thing.
And I struggle with this, where people want to say, well, if you're not making money, you either are a have or a have not, right? And I love in the comment section yesterday, well, they're getting scholarship money, Monty. Well, really, scholarships in I want to say it might have been Ryan Leaf. I don't want to put that in his mouth, but I can't remember. A former athlete told me, an NFL player told me, all scholarships are is money laundering. And I tend to agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a shell game, right? Is scholarship money real? Well, it's not like the athletic department is like, all right, here's your $50,000 for Jimmy, the quarterback, and here's your $20,000 for Teddy, the lineman. It essentially is, hey, you can send this many kids to school for free as long as they play football. And it's a game where you move money around. Do you think scholarships are even applicable in these conversations? They're not. It has nothing to do with it. So this idea that we're paying the kids with a scholarship, you're not. Last time I checked, you're not cutting a kid whatever his tuition bill is every year and putting that in his pocket.
Oh.
Right? So you're not already paying players. Enough of that nonsense. And there were 10 of them in the comment section yesterday. That's not paying a player. And the idea that these lawsuits are not justified. They're justified because you told kids that you were the one that were allowed to profit and the kid was not on his own image and likeness. When you put him in a video game and sold that video game based on him being in the video game. So we can sit here and we can spin. The reality is NIL and profit sharing are two different conversations. You are going to allow kids to get paid on their name, image, and likeness. That's over with. My biggest question is, how soon does profit sharing push us into a super league? It's been saying it for months now.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I believe it's already happening. And I think it's just a matter of time before private money powers college football. I think that's really what this comes down to.
Yeah, because there's so many more options with private money. I mean, it can be as simple as, this company donated this amount of money to our football program. What are they going to be the sponsor of? Or
well,
what,
it's even more than that. To me, it is, hey, we're going to create this new entity, a for-profit entity that all of these universities are going to have an ownership stake in, right? And these wealth funds are going to power that. They're going to have an ownership stake in it and be a full share partner. And the universities and the private money people are going to split the profits. And part of the expenses are going to be absolutely, positively health insurance and one of the interesting conversations I've been having with a buddy of mine that works in the industry is, how do you determine how long do you have to pay for this kid's knee injury, his neck injury, his whatever injury? Well, until it's not an injury anymore, right? So there is going to be a quality of life component. What is this kid's pay going to be? Well, he's going to make X amount of money because he's a quarterback. I think they're going to have a pay tier. And when it comes to NIL, I think the school is going to coordinate, the university, the athletic department will coordinate all NIL for all of its athletes.
Right.
And they will charge you a fee for that. And if you want to opt out of that, you are welcome to do so. But it's going to limit your ability to do a car deal because Toyota is the official automotive partner of Jimmy's Technical Institute of Dick Washing.
Right.
Where you play football. So I think that's how it's going to be, because the problem with NIL is that the school's branding partners are right now currently limited in their ability to do a car deal because he isn't Toyota. He's got a Lamborghini deal from Calvin's luxury car market. So all of this is going to become one as part of a new private entity, in my opinion. Yeah. That's the only way you fix this. It's the only way it happens. It's the only way that everybody wins.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. It makes a lot of sense. You can see how it works. The only other thing that comes to my mind is just like in that situation you were just describing where the kid's already got a car deal for him individually, and then the school wants to do a school-wide one. How that sort of works and how much flexibility the player is going to have to, because obviously brands are going to, brands right now reach out to kids, and I'm sure there will be a rule saying, hey, everything's got to go through the school to get to the kid, but you can't tell me that that's going to keep businesses from DMing kids.
It's
directly,
interesting. I think that's going to be very interesting. And I think one of the things that is going to change is this idea that, it's interesting you talk about like, what's the process on NIL? Because you're starting to see these rules where, well, the university has to sign off. Well, Monty, we can't have Pornhub endorsing, my quarterback. Okay, great. I agree. Is it adult material, tobacco, and alcohol is forbidden? Okay, so I don't have to call you and get your permission to do a deal with Mercedes-Benz? No, it's not going to work that way. All NIL deals are going to have to be approved.
Yeah, and I think that's what's really interesting when you start to talk about like NIL's origins were, hey, it's supposed to be for the kid. The kid is making money on their name, image, and likeness, and it's more of an individual thing.
But
Like
the rich guys got screwed in that
yeah,
situation.
and I know, and that's what I'm saying. Like that's where I think the dynamic comes into play. Like, hey, if we're gonna if NIL, Portal, Super League are all working together to make a boatload of money for the big boys and the kids benefit from that. That's great, obviously. But it just begs the question, like, what are the best quarterbacks in college football? The Shador Sanders right now is an example. If he wants to do a deal on his own with Rolls Royce, let's say, or with whatever the huge brand is that reached out to him specifically, are you really telling me that it has to go through the school and the school has to approve that? That's where and that may be the case. I'm just saying I think that's the only other thing where there could potentially be some butting of heads. Like, hey man, I'm one of the best quarterbacks in college football. I should be able to go out and do a deal with a like these charter jet deals that I always talk about.
NetJets.
Yeah, NetJets, right? Like NetJets is out here signing all these quarterbacks and doing all these things. So it's a really interesting proposition because I think running it through the school is better for the greater good. It's better for like most athletes.
But it's also what I said yesterday. Travel's a huge part of this because there is going to be this players association. And we talked about at UAB yesterday. There's going to be this players union association. They're going to mandate that all profit generating sports travel by charter. And to get that done, you're going to have to do deals with Delta. You're going to have to do deals with United. You're going to have to do deals with NetJets because they're not, you're in a position now where you're playing pro sports.
Yeah.
We are going to have the NCAA championship of football on Saturday and the Super Bowl on Sunday.
Yeah, and I just don't know why there's such a hesitancy to say that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's one of those things where it's like we have a stigma around saying, hey, like college football is pretty much a pro sport. Like, because it is pretty much a pro sport. Like, do these kids go to class and stuff? Yeah, sure. But let's not pretend like these kids are not adults. Like, they're over 18. They can make their own decisions. These are not idiots. They may be young and sometimes make mistakes. Absolutely. But like they are adults and this can be treated like a pro sport. Absolutely.
See, in this argument right here, I don't know what you and Eric are going back and forth about. If we want to treat these guys like pro athletes, then cut out the educational middleman because that isn't without a monetary value attached to it. Yeah, it is without monetary value. Yes, it is. I don't understand this. This is, again, in the comment section yesterday, there was a big argument about this. Without the kid playing the sport, there is no profit. Which is why these lawsuits are creating so much leverage against NCAA membership. We live in this draconian belief that a kid should deal with lifelong brain injuries and joint injuries because we gave them an education. The education, while not lacking in any value, the problem is that benefit, because that's what it is. It isn't anything more than, in today's world, the education that you get as an athlete is an extra benefit. It is what you at a baseline have earned already before you go to one class. You earned that already. It's not a gift. It's not like something, well, we're giving you an education. And I'm giving you profit from EA Sports and CBS and NBC and ESPN. Because without Michael Penix, without name your player,
yeah,
there is no profit.
And by the way, it goes without saying that, again, these kids are paying the price that cannot be monetized on any level, which is their body. And how many, bodies have paid the price over the decades, right? Like thousands, hundreds of thousands. Like, I mean, there's no, you want to say, hey, well, they're getting value through the education we're giving them. Well, what value are you getting out of them sacrificing their body to make you money?
We're talking about pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, dude. Like, I don't understand. Like, I agree with the point that you made about what your buddy had said. Like, yeah, the scholarship situation is low key money laundering.
It is.
You never see. It's not like they're like, okay, this one section on our P&L goes to this kid. They may say that, but that doesn't mean it's true.
You
That's
understand
just the public facing look.
You understand how scholarships work. There is no actual cash changing hands.
Yeah.
A university, not unlike the history department, not unlike the mathematics department, is the athletic department. And under the athletic department, all of these sports, when I was going to college, I contemplated going to the University of Illinois to play baseball for, I think, 20 something percent, if a quarter scholarship. 25% of my tuition would be paid if I played baseball. So what does that mean? Okay, that means that I am a line item in the athletic department's budget. That doesn't mean the athletic department is cutting me a check. That doesn't mean that the athletic department is cutting a check to the university or that the university is cutting a check to the athletic department. It basically means you're entering a kid into a system and you're saying, yep, don't send a tuition bill to his mom. He's here for free because he plays sports.
But think about what you just said too, right? You were contemplating going to University of Illinois on a 20% scholarship. So the reason I point that out is to defeat this argument right here. Because what is the school saying by giving you that valuation? They're saying, we believe that you're only worth 20% coverage based on your talent level and what your recruitment is and what your star level is. And so, like, if a university says, hey, we're going to give you a full ride scholarship, we're going to cover 100% of your costs to come to Yee University, USC, whatever.
Why do we always come to these conversations? Well, this kid doesn't deserve to make money. Without the school, the kid has no opportunity.
Actually, I would disagree with that on so many levels. In basketball, we don't need college basketball. Do you understand? There are
it's wild to me.
What, 5 different routes to get to the league right now?
It's look at this comment from Axe. Have you seen the majors of most student athletes? They're not exactly graduating with STEM or medical degrees.
Because they don't want to.
Wait. That's complete bullshit. So now we're going to judge a kid based on the fact he's an athlete and he chose whatever program you're referring to. How many kids went and got a oceanography degree because they romanticized being the next Jacques Cousteau and then figured out they can't make a penny doing that? So now they're paying off student loan debt. Like, who cares what they major in? We don't say, well, listen, if you want to be a quarterback at Notre Dame, you got to go to medical school.
And by the way, if they're not getting those major degrees, doesn't that mean it costs the school less money to educate the kids?
And shouldn't we judge the normal garden variety student who also took the same culinary classes the football player took, or the same whatever you're talking about? Why do we care? I can tell you, did you know how many athletes I know in college that are taking massive class load? Do you know how difficult it is to be a football player at an institution like BYU? Do you know how difficult school can be at BYU? You go and get yourself an MBA from the Marriott School of Business while playing football, because I know guys who have done that. Go to Notre Dame. And I've talked about this on the show before. Back in my day when I was college age, I worked with a guy who was just a cheerleader at Notre Dame and got a small scholarship. Do you know what a struggle it was for that kid to travel with the football and basketball teams and still get a passing grade? Where remember, When you're a student, if your grade point average falls below a certain amount, your scholarship becomes jeopardized. So if you think that because they took culinary, because they took physio classes, that somehow is a free pass or a slight or an indictment against them, no, it is not. No, it is not. And again, why are we judging the kid? I help, and I'm wide open to this conversation if I'm wrong about this. The NCAA is making billions of dollars on these kids, and they shouldn't get anything more than a scholarship and a Pell Grant. Do you know how many people believe that? They shouldn't get anything more than their scholarship, and well, they also get room and board, Monty. They're covering their books and their pencils. Okay, well, who's paying for food? Because I've talked about this on the show as well. That before we actually came into modern era about 5-10 years ago, or 7 years ago, do you understand that it was an NCAA violation? And Kyle Gunther used to talk about this on K-Fan all the time. It was a violation to have more than one chicken sandwich off the training table.
How?
A violation. I have had this conversation with other people who have talked about the fact that there used to be, you remember those plastic hospital containers of orange juice that had like the tinfoil top? You could have one of those, a bottle of water, and a chicken sandwich. And if you took more than that, you have to self-report or somebody turns you in, and that's an NCAA violation. Do you understand what I'm talking about? $1 billion operation is scrimping and saving on the nutrition the kid is eating. And you don't want to pay that kid, and you don't think he should have the right to make money off his name, image, and likeness. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
It is asinine.
What are we doing?
Truly.
This just blows my mind that we're making billions of dollars for rich guys and the kid can't afford to eat. Because up until how many years ago, that was reality.
Yeah, it was, I think it was still in effect in like 2010.
It's
like late 2000s there.
It's wild to me.
Yeah. Like it wasn't that long ago.
We used to have a situation when I covered a college team that will remain nameless. We used to have a situation on a major college football team where one of the kids, his parents owned a chain of restaurants. And they used to give the football team, everybody on the football team, used to get a meal card for those restaurants. And those kids could go into that restaurant and eat for free. Because most of the kids on that team could not afford meal money. And the other funny part about that is that brings back another story. So they supposedly feed you on road trips, but certain college football programs gave their kids meal money. Instead of spending it on food, they would put it in their pocket and either give it to their parents or pay for things like their cell phone bill because they couldn't afford their cell phone bill. And we're arguing over should they get the right to make money on their name, image, and likeness.
I think it's insulting. Like I think it's
God damn.
It is terrible.
It is crazy. It is absolutely crazy that we go through this stuff. Chad Carter says, Aaron, it's not Caps Lock Friday. Because seriously. OG Gary, STEM degrees are not flexible with scheduling. The bullshit degrees these athletes do are mad flexible and have flexibility. It's on the school to make the STEM majors be more flexible. Could be.
But what does that have to do with
the other thing that these, while they went to culinary class? Do you understand how difficult it is just on a baseline to be a college football player and a college student at the same time? Do you know how difficult that is? And then ask yourself if you can do that at Duke, Stanford, anywhere in the Ivy League, pretty much anywhere in the Pac-12. It's not easy to do that. Do you understand that, like, sticking ball sports are on the road for like 2 weeks at a time? And they're taking tests on iPads.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. Steve Stepanek, I had a friend that punted for Division I school that had a running back that he was so dumb they told him run right or left. He never went to class and wasn't smart enough. Okay.
And the point is?
The point is, so is a free education not worth it? No, it is not worth it. It is not worth. The only reason, do you guys understand the racket that is professional football in this country? What's the only route to the NFL draft?
There's one.
It's playing college football. Can you skip college and go right to the NFL? You cannot. You have to go through the system.
Oh, you don't want to play college football? Oh, you can go. Oh, that's right. Nowhere. That's
you can't. Right. You won't get drafted if you don't play college football. You won't get invited to the combine. It's insanity.
It's a monopoly. Like, and that's fine, but just give the kids their money, bro.
Are you saying that these kids shouldn't go play football if all they get is a degree? Isn't NIL enough too? I'm not saying that. Let's not get crazy. What I'm telling you is you're making billions of dollars on these kids. Why are you so hesitant to give them part of the pie? Why immediately when NIL got introduced, what did the universities do? They tried to grab it and they tried to control it and they tried to take their part of the. Why should universities get part of a kid's NIL money when the kid doesn't get part of the university's profits? So you're not going to pay him profits he's making you. You're not going to allow him to profit off his name, image, and likeness without taking a percentage of that. And now we're going to argue that the education is, you guys.
On top of the fact, you're probably only paying most kids like 40, 50% scholarship. Come on now.
This is just crazy to me.
This is not difficult to understand.
It's crazy to me. Mike Smith, Mountain Mama. Is a scholarship worth more going to Stanford, Yale, or Harvard versus going to Wake Forest, Iowa State, or Minnesota? I don't think so.
But I think it depends on what your scholarship and what your degree is.
Do you want to be a lawyer?
Yeah. Like,
you probably want to go to Harvard.
Yeah.
Right? Or, but do you want to be an Olympic swimmer? Well, then I'm going to Stanford. Well, do I want to be a defensive back in the NFL? I'm probably going to Nick Saban in Alabama or Kyle Whittingham at Utah. It's all about what path you're trying to take. Do I want to be a Major League Baseball player? Yeah, I'm probably trying to get drafted out of high school.
Yeah.
Do I want to be an NBA basketball player? Well, maybe I go to college, but maybe I go to Australia. Maybe I go to the G League. Maybe I go to Europe and play in Germany or Spain. Oh, I want to play in the NFL? I got to go play college football.
For 3 years, bro.
There's not an option. And the physical development, the maturity, they totally understand it. But it doesn't change the fact that's the only avenue you have to take. And they're in cahoots with each other. Boston Mapes, I don't judge kids on their degree. Most of the time, it's the school that pushes them into easy classes to keep them on the field. It should be an indictment on the school, not the student.
Yes. Yes.
We systematically in this country, we're pretty well broken. If I am a scholarship level athlete in any sport, I should be able to say, well, hey, I want to be an astronaut. So I need to study science and math or I want to be a lawyer. So that's the path I'm going to take. Me and my parents have talked about it. Here's what this and here's what that. And I want to get my MBA. I want to be whatever you want to be. But I agree with Mapes. A lot of times, well, you know what, man? You're going to be an NFL player, which almost never happens. You're going to be an NFL player. So let's make sure that we get you into lettuce chopping and rotini making. AP, rotini making. Okay, let's get you into STEM level sewing classes. That happens all the time. There was a particular kid at a particular college I covered who had no business going to college at that university, who was not academically capable, but man, that kid was fast. And he was going to do the summer school system that I've always loved. Well, you know what? You didn't do well in the academic year. Fall camp starts August, and your mom, we're going to need you to stay at that JUCO, and we're going to need you to get an A in math this summer school, or we're not going to let you play football here. So the kid goes and gets, the very last point that he needs to get into that university. And what happened? He went to 3 classes all year long. Now he played 2 years in the NFL, but didn't get an education, didn't make tens of millions of dollars in the NFL. And now what? How many kids were washouts that, well, you're going to be an NFL star, kid, and then never made the NFL and didn't go to class, so he didn't get his education?
Right.
So we can sit here and talk about the value of education. The fucking school doesn't value the education. The school is not saying, hey, you know what? Chances are, Jimmy, you're not going to play in the NFL. We need to make sure that we set you up for future success. No, we need to make sure you're on the field. So, yeah, we can't have you. I understand you want to be an astronaut, but that AP Chem class is a real ball breaker.
Yeah.
But, the funny thing is, and I don't know how you feel about this, we have this class over here where we teach you how to put eyelets on shoelaces. Challenging. You got big knobby fingers, bud, but we can get you through that one. How many times does that happen?
Yeah.
That happens a lot. Oak State James, FTR. No idea what
For the record.
Should I just skip this comment? Because I'm sure James is weirding out that I haven't read his paid comment. Sorry about earlier, trying to be funny. You're neither fat nor Mormon. Profit sharing, I'm okay with that. Oak State will just charge more for beer. Okay.
Did he call you fat?
He did. Aaron Wilson gifted a Monty Show membership. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate that.
Okay. Comment section's got the weird vibe today.
It does. Underwater basket weaving at K-State. LOL back in the day. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Mike Smith. I took that class, but had to quit due to swimmer's ear. This was before I could use the advocates to file a workman's comp claim.
See what he did there? See, that's how you make the show better.
Stepanek. Travis Kelce went back to Cincinnati to get his degree, recently graduated.
Good for him.
He's also banging Taylor Swift and her bank account. He's also won multiple Super Bowl championships. And he is I would guess at this point, $100 millionaire.
Yeah.
But that's everybody. Every kid that comes out of college that doesn't graduate. I mean, they're $100 millionaire, right? How many of these kids go on to be Travis Kelce? Not many. Gig Addy. Good morning, sir. Giggy, thank you for your service. How many people in this chat have played at any level of college athletics?
Yeah.
Good question. James, we tried to have water polo at Oak State, but the stool water isn't clear enough to play under, right? I mean, you couldn't see the ball under the...
Yeah, it's kind of disgusting, dude.
But 3 horses died, so we had to stop. See, that's a joke, like water polo. I mean, you put the horses in the pool. You could play polo
stick and ball sports, on
a horse. The horse couldn't.
Yeah.
The horse couldn't swim. Mike Smith, rifle team at West Virginia, making bank at the end of the barrel.
See what he did there? That's like a gun reference.
Okay, look, Tommy.
Monty?
Here at West Virginia, we're going to need you to major in clean coal. Now, we're going to pay for all of the hoses in the water, as well as the scrub brushes you're going to need to pass the clean coal class. Okay? You just walk out there, scrub that coal, but don't you ask be late to practice. So you clean that coal real quick, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. And only one chicken sandwich today, fat ass. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. No,
No,
nothing.
no.
Okay, final verdict here. Should athletes share in the profit of their universities?
If they're making it to the postseason, yes.
No, they should not. NIL is where kids should make their money. I believe that. Now, don't get me wrong. This is happening, and it's an arms race. There's no question about it. But in my opinion, when we start sharing in profits with each one of these athletes, now it just means that Jimmy's going to become a chip, and they're going to offer him more profit sharing at X university,
Right.
right? Like Ollie Gordon is going to be offered more of the profit at Auburn than he was at Oak State, where James is still combing the lice out of Mike Gundy's mullet. So I think that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest issue I have, is that it's going to be a situation where you're going to have negotiations, and again, unintended consequences. Jimmy, the running back, I'm going to give you $2 million a year out of our profits, but you're not allowed to transfer, and we control your NIL. Now, I'm going to give you $2 million in profit every year, but we get 86% of your NIL revenue.
Yeah.
That's what this is going to turn into. Unintended consequences.
Yep.
Because at some point, they're going to have to sign contracts.
Yes, they are.
But Monty, they're kids. Well,
not anymore.
It is what it is.
It's what you always say, right? If you're going to take the bag, the man is going to put his thumb on you.
Dakota Tubbs, Monty, we've been agreeing the whole time. I'm sure we haven't. I'm sure. I mean, who? Oh, you mean you and Big Daddy Vladdy? Got it. San Diego State, Glenn, I have an intramural flag football championship from college. Does that count? Well, listen, man. I know that you were the center on the flag football team, and that's important. Lee Jensen, hello. Aaron Wilson, Texas Tech runs meat judging competitions. Come get your meat judged. Who are you? Northwestern? Giggity. Aaron, I'll throw my meat on the table for that competition. Boy. Andy Blackwell, hello. How do I become a member, guys?
Well, see, there's this button that you hit that says join,
Duh!
And then you select the $10 option, which gets you into the group chat.
It depends on if you're on a computer or a phone.
Yeah.
It's different. I'm pretty sure on most...
has he figured it out? That just popped up. Remember right there? Did he figure it out?
I don't think he did. Who's and Donuts is a new member.
Okay.
And Donuts figured it out.
Bro, let's go, baby.
Good to see you, and Donuts. Too long, and Donuts. But Andy, if you want to become a member, I believe there is a join button on most phones now. I know there is on iOS. And if you're an Android guy, we probably don't want you to be a member anyway.
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude.
What, even us?
It's kind of rough.
Yeah, Android.
Yeah, it's,
AI and stuff.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. It's probably quicker and easier on a computer, but hit the join button. There's 2 levels of membership on this here Monty program.
Hey, Monty.
For $1.99, your comments get highlighted in red. For $9.99 a month, you get into our members only content, which gets you into the Instagram Monty Show chat group, which is phenomenal. Unfortunately, OG Gary's in that group. His shoe game is weak as his shoe game. You're Gary, for being a fan of Poughkeepsie State, your shoe game's weak.
Yeah.
That's an issue.
And as an Oregon fan, I would think that you would be a Nike guy and your shoe game would be better. But understanding that you're a fan of Tarleton State, I totally understand. I get it. But
okay.
Listen, San Jose State has some cool colorways. Why don't you have them? NIL is how they should make their money, and that's it. There is no stop to this stupidity. Next, they will want 2% of sales of Coke in the stadium and 10% of computer sales. They will. And they will ask for it. Who's the kid that's going to be like, hey, now I want a suite for my parents and my family, but then my frat brothers need their own suite. I also need field passes. I'm also going to need a completely unlimited budget for gear and swag. And then I'm going to need a percentage of the gate as well. I get a $50,000 bonus for every game that's sold out. How long until contracts are actually starting to be negotiated with these players?
Yeah. Soon, I think.
You know, James, I don't clean lice out of Mike's mullet. Now you guys are on a first name basis. I clean his pool and mow his yard. Get your facts straight.
Wow.
So I'm just curious, is mowing his yard, is that a euphemism for combing his mullet?
So get your facts straight.
And other things? Brandon Butler, the only people who are going to benefit are going to be the agents with 15-year-olds. I would agree with that. John Dry, Texas Tech has the best meat. Monty, you ain't lived until you've had a man's meat in Lubbock.
Monty, you want to compare meat?
Lubbock. You know. Lee Jensen. If you want kids to give a reward for going to the postseason, just guarantee that they can finish their degree for free.
You know?
I mean, that's a hell of a reward. Shooter, Texas. How did you not change football coaches in Waco? How? Most parents dream of their kids going to college for free. Even better if they can go on a football scholarship and get a few thousand in NIL too. That should be more than enough. So the NCAA is going to make billions. And that damn kid is getting a free scholarship. What's the average value? Let's see. Hey Siri. What is the average value of a college scholarship in the United States?
The amount of a scholarship varies greatly. It could be a few $100s, or it could pay for your entire college cost. Only about 1 in 8 college students has won scholarships, averaging about $4,200. This answer is from savingforcollege.com.
Saving Siri. Hey Siri.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Hey Siri, you're beautiful, and I'd like to hit that. You want to smash?
I don't see a smash in your contacts.
Daddy!
What is the average cost of college? Okay. Average cost of college tuition.
United States of America.
USA.
Bald Eagles.
1776, 4 more years. $42,162 at a private college. $23,630 for out-of-state tuition at a public university. Okay, let's go with $23,000. And let's get wild.
Yeah.
Let's get wild. 23,630 times 4. So let me get this right. They're making billions of dollars off of these kids. But we should give them, they should be satisfied with $94,520 if they stay all 4 years and a few $1,000s in NIL. So let's call it $100,000. We're going to make billions off of your athletic ability, and you're going to get $100,000 of our billions. Don't you take that extra chicken sandwich off that table, boy.
Yeah, that seems legit. That seems fair. Seems like it's in alignment.
And we'll give you 1 pair of socks every month.
Sure you won't.
Do you see how nonsensical the equation here is?
Yeah.
They make billions, but we only get $100,000.
But have fun. Have fun, Jimmy. Go get that scholarship. Go get that education.
So if nobody played college football, how much would the old white hairs make?
Much less. By the way, if you didn't have athletics making you money, would the old white hairs be a little more liberal with how they hand out scholarships because they need students of their universities? Because they need enrollment, right?
Yeah. Giggity. I don't care why people care so much about 18-year-old kids' financial situations. Or I don't understand why we're going so far out of our way to try to oppress 18-year-old
Yeah, why
kids.
do we have to be like, yeah, they're 18 years old. Put them down.
Fuck them.
Like, why?
Why?
Like, what have they done?
What is it that we're so upset about? Because it's inarguable that The NCAA is making money off of a kid's athletic ability.
Yes.
And then they put that athletic ability in a video game and made more money off of it and wouldn't give any of it to the kid. And you want him to make $100,000 while everybody else is out there making millions. That doesn't, I don't know about that. Giggity, all about power and control over the little guy. I think that's what it is. Because I think academics like to put their thumbs on people.
Yeah.
Let's see. James Littles, out of that 100,000, how much is spendable? As I said before,
A great question, right? Like,
not $94,520 of it. Because again, I think people have this belief, well, Monty gave him a scholarship. He's living fine. He doesn't see a penny of money in his pocket. Do you understand that they don't get a check for their scholarship?
no.
They get a stipend. So let's call it out of that 94,000. What are they getting? $5,000 maybe? And then that doesn't, so let's pretend that covers books.
Uh-huh.
And let's pretend that covers room and board. What is he eating on? What is he paying his cell phone bill on? We know football players who can't afford a car.
Literally. And I'm talking about like grade A1 names.
Can't afford a car. And how far is $100,000 taking you in this world? If
Not
you got
far.
all of it.
Not far.
And then, yeah.
I was looking
crazy to
at,
me.
just on that note, I was looking at, what the average salary for the middle class is, right? The middle class is by state. And it's all like the middle class is barely getting over $100,000 now. Like, and it's just not enough. Like,
not in this world.
like-
Not when fucking Five Guys is $24 a person on average.
In Utah, the average middle class working person is making $115 a year.
Yep.
Like,
I agree.
That's not enough.
UW fan Jim Roma Dunze. Profit, not revenue sharing is fine, but it should be evenly split, and NIL should be based on talent. NIL you should get paid. Again,
Bro, I disagree. I don't think it should be based on talent. It should be based on your ability to get a job done. It should be based on your ability to negotiate a deal, right? Again, like the best business people in the world are not great athletes, but they're great business people, right? So the phenomena of a great kicker. A kicker in football is not the most talented guy in the field. But if his name is Dicker the Kicker, that's brandable. That's sellable. Like, you have something there. You know what I mean? Like, so it's super situational, and it's your ability to close a deal. So it shouldn't be based on your 4.3 40 time,
Hundo
or, or if you can, if you're Joe Milton and you can throw a football 80 yards or whatever. Like, that's not what it should be based on.
No. You should get what you can earn. Mike, why are we doing, are you really making Pink Floyd references? How can you get your pudding if you don't eat your meat?
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
You don't know.
Hey, look here, man.
You don't know that reference.
Nope. Old white hair is out here on the show today. This just in, we don't have enough scholarship money for me to know that reference.
No, we don't have enough scholarship money to have lights on in the studio. How do you not know that reference?
It's before my time, bro. That is before my time.
Do you know who Abraham Lincoln is?
Yeah.
Then how do you not know that reference?
Dude, come on.
Are you serious? You don't know? Oh my God. Hey Siri.
You mama hillbillies.
How can we have any pudding if we don't eat our meat?
If you think it could be serious, ask me to call emergency services.
I get it.
See, she doesn't know it.
Hey Siri.
Mm-hmm.
How can we have pudding if we don't eat our meat?
If you think it could be serious, ask
Shut the fuck up, Ronnie.
Can you just play along with me, honey, please?
No.
Honey, baby.
Come on, man. What is we talking about?
Honey, baby. Can you just... It's a Pink Floyd song, Jake. It's
Okay, well, again, I'm not some Pink Floyd savant.
I should, Mike Smith, call emergency services. The fact that he don't know who fucking Pink Floyd is.
What are we doing?
I don't know what we're doing, but we show up.
Right.
We show up, but I don't know what we're doing.
We show up.
I don't. Boyd Lake, my grandkids know that reference.
Yeah, well, I'm not your grandkids, dude.
No, you are not, are you?
Why don't you fuck off?
Marge. Anyway, I just want people to understand.
I just want my
Oh
scholarship.
my God. I have failed you as a parent. Still haven't seen The Godfather. Don't know.
Where's the Italian?
Just add it to the list. Not seen The Godfather. Virgin. Doesn't know who Pink Floyd is.
Back to the top.
Do you even live a life?
Yellow Brick Road to
Yes,
college
Andy.
life.
Pink Floyd's a legendary band. Are you serious?
Okay, again, dude, I know who Pink
Now
Floyd
listen.
is. I'm
Listen,
not
bro.
a savant in their
Listen.
music, bro.
You got to understand. You got to understand.
Monty?
Oh, Monty. You got You got to understand.
Monty,
Monty?
we can't do Caps Lock Friday if Jakey Two-Holes doesn't know what Pink Floyd is. It's not
Listen.
possible.
Monty, he's a virgin. He listens to Drake and Taylor Swift, and forearm strengthens to quick, who's the rock band you like?
Foo Fighters.
And he forearm strengthens to Nickelback. He don't know who Pink Floyd is, but you run some Nickelback, he'll get up and start gyrating the hips.
21.
I mean, you've never seen fluid hips like Jakey Tools listening to Nickelback.
That's right, T.
Cam Harrison, my nieces know who Pink Floyd
I
is.
know, okay, again, clarification here. I know who Pink Floyd is.
Cam
I
Harrison.
don't know the song.
Cam Harrison, Pink Floyd is classic. Dakota Tubbs, we don't need no education. I don't know the reference either, Jake.
Thank you. Thank you. See?
Caleb supporting you.